If love was a crime, then Eric Bamedio was ready to be the most wanted man in the whole country. People said the rich should marry only the rich. People said a son from a big family must follow the rules. People said a poor girl like Emily should never dream of love with a man like Eric. But Eric did not care. He loved her with the type of love that made a man forget his fear, forget his pride, and even forget his own life. And this is the story of how Eric almost died because he held on to Emily, and how Emily, the poor girl everyone looked down on, later became the biggest blessing to the same family that once hated her. While you enjoy the story, please don't forget to subscribe, like and comment. Eric Bamedio was born in one of the biggest estates in the city. Tall gates, armed guards, polished floors, rich people everywhere. His father was a powerful businessman. His mother controlled several big shops. The Bamedio name carried fear and respect. But Eric was different from his family. He was soft. He was gentle. He treated people with kindness, even when his parents told him he was too soft for a Bamedio. Emily lived on the other side of the city. Her mother sold vegetables in a small market stall. Their house was small and old, with a roof that leaked whenever it rained. Emily had nothing but her smile. Her smile was warm, like morning sunshine. And her heart was cleaner than gold. The first time Eric saw Emily was at a community outreach. Eric came as a guest of honor from his father's company. Emily came as a volunteer to serve food to poor children. Eric was standing at a corner, watching the volunteers. Emily was busy helping a crying little boy find his missing slippers. She bent down, cleaned the boy's tears with her scarf, tied his slippers carefully, and whispered, "Don't cry, okay? I am here." Something touched Eric deeply. He had seen rich girls with makeup and expensive bags. But he had never seen a heart as beautiful as Emily's. She noticed him staring. She smiled. And Eric felt something in his chest, something warm, something new. Something he could not explain. He walked up to her. "Hi. I'm Eric." "I know," she said shyly. "Your name is on the event banner." He laughed. She laughed. And that was how it started. Their friendship became strong. Then slowly, gently, quietly, it turned into love. Emily tried to stop it at first. "You are rich," she said. "You belong to a different world. Your family will never accept me." Eric held her hand and replied, "What is the use of being rich if I cannot choose the woman I love?" Emily did not know what to say. She had never been loved like that before. So she let herself love him too. Eric finally told his parents about Emily. He expected them to argue. He expected them to complain. But he did not expect the fire that followed. His mother screamed so loudly that the housemaids outside heard her. His father banged his fist on the table. "Emily who? A girl from the slum. Do you want to disgrace the Bamedio name?" Eric stood his ground. "I love her," he said simply. His father pointed a shaking finger at him. "Over my dead body." His mother tore at her wrapper, crying dramatically. "Which rich family marries a poor girl? Is she using charm on you?" That day, something broke between Eric and his parents. A quiet war began. His parents tried everything. They took his car keys. They stopped his monthly allowance. They warned him they would disown him. His father even invited a pastor to pray away the nonsense. But Eric refused to leave Emily. He sold some of his personal items. He used the money to visit her and buy food for her mother. His parents got angrier. Soon, they moved from warnings to threats. Anonymous messages started coming to Emily. Leave Eric or suffer. Stay away from him. We know where you live. Emily became scared. She cried at night. She begged Eric to stop the relationship for his own peace. But Eric only held her tighter. I will never leave you. Not even death can stop me. One evening, Emily came to Eric's house with tears in her eyes. His parents had sent men to her market stall to harass her mother. They pushed their goods to the ground. They shouted at them. They insulted them. Emily could not take it anymore. I don't want you to lose your family because of me, she cried. Please, Eric. Let me go. Eric shook his head. No. Eric. No, he repeated. If you leave me, I will die. I swear it. But Emily was shaking in fear. She stepped back from him. We need to stop seeing each other. I cannot take this anymore. She ran. And Eric fell to his knees, shouting her name. After Emily walked away, Eric felt like his chest was being pulled apart. He went home, but everything around him looked dark. The lights were on, but the house felt empty. His mother tried to talk to him that night. She expected him to beg for forgiveness. She expected him to say he had stopped seeing Emily. But Eric walked past her without a word. He locked himself in his room and refused to eat. For the first time, the powerful Bombadil household felt helpless. Emily avoided him for days. She refused to pick his calls. She stayed away from the market so he wouldn't find her. But Eric was not like other rich boys. He came looking for her on foot. He walked under the hot sun, sweating, searching. He asked neighbors if they saw her. He waited outside her gate for hours. Finally, on the fourth day, Emily came out. Her eyes were swollen from crying. When she saw him, she froze. Eric walked slowly to her. Emily, please don't push me away. I cannot breathe without you. Eric, she whispered, your parents are dangerous. I don't care. But I do, she cried. I don't want anything to happen to you because of me. Eric sighed deeply and held her hands. My parents do not control my destiny. I choose you. Emily felt her heart melting again. But fear was stronger than love at that moment. She stepped away from him again. I'm sorry, Eric. And she went back inside. Eric stood there for a long time, staring at the closed door, wondering why love had to hurt this much. Eric's parents were watching him closely. When they realized he was not giving up, the Bombadil elders held a secret meeting. His father, his uncles, even his grandmother, all of them came together. They whispered. They pointed fingers. They discussed ideas. At the end, they agreed on something terrible. They would force Eric to stop loving Emily. And the best way to do that was to remove Emily from his life, by fear or by force. One Saturday evening, Emily went to buy food items for her mother. She carried her bag, paid for tomatoes, peppers, onions, and was walking home. A black van drove slowly beside her. She did not pay attention. Suddenly, a hand grabbed her from behind. A cloth was pushed over her face. She struggled, kicking and screaming. But her voice was swallowed by the night. In seconds, she was thrown into the van. The door slammed shut. And the van disappeared. Emily's mother waited, and waited, and waited. Her daughter did not come home. She ran outside, shouting her name. Neighbors helped search around. They called Emily's phone. It was switched off. Fear filled the whole street. When Eric heard the news, he felt a sharp pain in his chest. He rushed to Emily's house. Her mother was crying on the floor. "Eric, my daughter is gone." Eric held her mother's hands tightly. "I will find her. I swear I will." But inside him, he knew something. He knew who was behind this. His parents. He rushed home, breathing fast, shaking with anger and fear. He stormed into the living room. His father and mother were sitting calmly, watching TV. Eric stood in front of them, eyes red. "Where is Emily?" His father pretended not to understand. "What are you talking about?" Eric shouted with a voice he did not know he had. "Where is she?" His mother stood up angrily. "How dare you raise your voice at us?" Eric looked at both of them, tears filling his eyes. "You took her." "Eric, that girl is ruining your future," his father said coldly. "So you kidnapped her?" His father looked away. Eric's heart dropped. That was enough answer. Eric walked to his room, but his legs felt weak. He closed the door behind him. Then slowly sat on the floor. He could feel his whole world melting. Emily was somewhere scared and alone, and his own parents did it. He held his head and cried quietly at first. Then loudly, painfully, like a wounded animal. He remembered Emily's smile. Her voice. The way she said his name. The way she feared for him. He felt like he was drowning in pain. How could his own blood be this cruel? He picked up a pen and a sheet of paper. His hands were shaking. He wrote, "If Emily suffers because of me, then my life has no meaning. If I cannot save her, then let my death speak for me." Tears fell on the paper. He placed the letter on his table. Then he opened the drawer where he kept painkillers. He poured all the pills into his hand. His heart was breaking so loudly he could almost hear it. "This is the only way they will stop," he whispered. He put the pills in his mouth. He swallowed. And slowly, he closed his eyes. Minutes passed. Then, a miracle. Eric's housekeeper, Mama Iriti, came to bring him food. She knocked once. "Eric." No answer. She knocked again. "Eric, I brought dinner." Still no answer. Something told her something was wrong. She opened the door gently. She saw the spilled pill bottle. She saw Eric on the floor. Her tray fell. She screamed his name. People rushed in. His mother fainted. His father panicked. Eric was carried out quickly. The driver sped to the hospital. They arrived just in time. Doctors fought for his life for hours. It was a long night. Emily was still missing. Eric was between life and death. And the Bamadil family was drowning in guilt. The hospital was silent that night. The hallways were cold. The lights were dim. And Eric was fighting for his life. His parents sat in the waiting area, crying. They had never seen their son lying between life and death before. His mother kept saying, "God, please don't take my child. I didn't know it would come to this." His father covered his face with both hands. What have we done? What kind of parents are we? Hours passed slowly, like crawling snails. Finally, a doctor came out. "He is alive," the doctor said softly. "But he is very weak. He needs rest. And he needs peace." His parents cried again, this time in relief, this time in shame. Eric woke up the next morning. His throat was dry. His head was heavy. His eyes could barely open. When he finally opened them, he saw machines around him. He blinked slowly. His mother's voice broke the silence. "Eric, my son, thank God you are awake." Eric turned his face away. He didn't want to look at them. His father came close. "Eric, please forgive us." Eric spoke in a weak whisper. "Where is Emily. His mother burst into tears again. Eric tried to sit up. Where is she? What did you do to her? His father knelt beside the bed, something nobody had ever seen him do. We are sorry, Eric. We should never have touched that girl. We were wrong. Where is she? Eric repeated, breath shaking. His father swallowed hard. We will bring her back. We will fix everything. Please don't hurt yourself again. His mother grabbed his hand. You are our only child, Eric. We thought we were protecting you. But we almost killed you. For the first time in his life, Eric saw his parents not as powerful people, but as broken humans. The Bamadil father called the men who took Emily. His voice was angry, more angry than a roaring lion. Bring that girl back now, he shouted. Unharmed. Untouched. Before sunset. The men were scared. Nobody had ever heard Mr. Bamadil talk like that. They drove to the small house where Emily was kept. She was tied to a chair. Her clothes were dusty. Her lips were dry. But she was alive. When she saw the men return, she became scared again. One of them untied her. We are taking you home. Emily did not understand. Home? Why? You will know. The van drove her straight to the hospital. Eric was sleeping when Emily entered quietly with one of the nurses. Her hands were shaking. Her legs were weak. Her heart was beating fast. When she saw him lying there, pale and tired, she covered her mouth with both hands. Tears poured down her face like rain. She walked slowly to his bed. She touched his hand gently. Eric opened his eyes. At first, he thought he was dreaming. Then he whispered, Emily. She nodded, crying. He tried to sit up, but he was too weak. She held his hand tighter. I'm here, she said. I'm alive. Eric closed his eyes in relief. You're safe, he whispered. Emily bent over him and rested her forehead on his chest. Why did you do this to yourself? She cried softly. Why, Eric? He lifted his weak hand and touched her hair. Because losing you hurts more than death. Emily cried harder. I told you I didn't want problems. I told you to let me go. Eric opened his eyes fully and whispered. I will never let you go. Not even in death. Her tears fell on his hospital gown. Eric's parents watched the reunion from the doorway. They did not enter. They just stood and watched quietly. Emily turned around when she noticed them. She stepped back in fear. She remembered the threats. The warnings. The kidnapping. But Eric's mother walked toward her slowly and knelt down. Emily gasped. She had never seen a rich woman kneel before. My daughter, Eric's mother said with tears in her eyes, forgive us. We were blind. We did not know your value. Emily covered her mouth in shock. Eric's father stepped beside his wife. We have been fighting a useless battle. We see that now. Eric loves you, and we cannot change that. Please, forgive us. Emily looked at them, confused and emotional. How could she hate people who were crying before her? Eric watched from his bed, weak but relieved. Emily, his father continued, we brought you pain. We hurt you, and your mother. But from today, no one, and I mean no one, will touch you again. Emily wiped her tears with her sleeve. Eric's mother stood and took her hand. Please, don't leave our son. You are the only person who truly loves him. We accept you. Emily looked at Eric. Eric nodded gently. Emily gave a slow, soft reply. I forgive you. It was the beginning of healing. Emily was allowed to stay in the hospital for days so doctors could check her health. Eric recovered slowly. Their love grew even stronger. Their bond became unbreakable. Eric's parents visited every day. They apologized again and again. They brought food for Emily's mother. They even repaired the leaking roof of Emily's house. The wall between the rich and the poor had finally fallen. Peace entered all their hearts. After 2 long weeks in the hospital, Eric finally became strong enough to go home. Emily was the one walking beside his wheelchair as they left the hospital doors. Eric's parents followed behind them quietly, like people who had learned a hard lesson. At the entrance, Eric stood up slowly and held Emily's hand. "I'm ready," he said. Emily smiled. They got into the same car with his parents for the first time ever. There was no shouting, no threats, no anger. Just silence and peace. At home, the Bamadil mansion looked different. It was still big, still beautiful, still full of luxury. But for the first time in Eric's life, he felt something new inside it. Warmth. His parents welcomed Emily properly. His father shook her hand. His mother hugged her tightly. The house staff smiled and whispered among themselves. This girl must be special, for the Bamadil family to change like this. Even the house gates seemed to open wider for her. A week later, Emily's mother came to see them. The housemaids helped her climb down from the taxi. She couldn't believe how big the mansion was. When she entered the living room, she held her chest and whispered, "God, what am I seeing?" Eric's mother rushed to welcome her. "Ma, please come in. Make yourself comfortable." Emily's mother bowed her head. "I am sorry for the trouble my daughter caused." Eric's father stepped forward and shook his head quickly. "No, Ma. The trouble was from us. Your daughter did nothing wrong. We should be the ones apologizing." Emily's mother was shocked. She looked at Emily, then at Eric. She had feared their relationship would end in tears. She had feared the rich would never accept her child. But now, here she was, sitting on a sofa worth more than her entire house, being treated like royalty. Her eyes filled with tears. Emily was in the kitchen helping the chef prepare food. Eric's mother walked in quietly and stood behind her. "Emily," she said softly. Emily turned. "Yes, Ma." Eric's mother smiled gently. "You saved my son." Emily shook her head. "No, Ma, he saved me." But the older woman continued. "No. You changed him. You made him stronger. You taught him how to fight for love. You taught him what we could not teach him." Emily looked down shyly. Eric's mother touched her cheek and whispered, "I prayed for a blessing to enter this family. I didn't know the blessing would come as you." Emily's eyes watered. She hugged Eric's mother tightly. That hug sealed everything. From that moment, Emily became a daughter to the Bamadil family. 2 months after the hospital incident, Eric decided it was time. He invited both families for a small meeting in the mansion garden. Emily wore a simple yellow dress. Eric wore a white shirt and black trousers. When she walked into the garden, she saw a small table with flowers, a soft carpet, and lights hanging from the trees like stars. Eric smiled at her. "Emily," he said softly, "come." She walked toward him. He went on one knee. Her hands flew to her mouth. Tears filled her eyes immediately. Eric looked up at her with eyes full of love. "I almost died because I couldn't imagine a life without you. Now that I have you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Emily Chisholm, will you marry me?" Emily could not speak. Her voice failed her. So she simply nodded quickly and cried. Eric put the ring on her finger. Their families clapped. Some people cried. Even the security guards whispered. True love still exists. Emily knelt down too and hugged Eric tightly. "I will marry you," she whispered. It was the happiest day of their lives. The wedding day came. The hall was beautiful, decorated with gold and white. Rich people came. Poor people came. There were no class barriers anymore. Emily walked in with her mother beside her. People gasped. She looked like an angel, simple, elegant, glowing. Eric stood waiting for her at the altar. His heart was beating fast. When he saw her, he smiled like he had won the whole world. When Emily reached him, he held her hands. The pastor began the ceremony. When it was time for vows, Eric said, "I almost lost my life trying to fight for us. But today, standing here with you, I know everything was worth it. You are my peace, Emily. My gift from God." Emily cried softly. Then she said, "You stood for me when I had nothing. You loved me when your whole world hated me. I will stand with you forever, Eric. Even when life gets hard." They exchanged rings. The pastor lifted his hands. "I pronounce you husband and wife." Eric kissed her softly. The hall exploded with applause. After the wedding, Emily moved into the Bomardieu mansion. But she did not act like a queen. She did not show pride. She remained simple, humble, kind. She started a foundation to help poor widows and children, something she had always dreamed of. Eric's parents supported her. They admired her heart. Soon, newspapers began writing about her charity work. People praised the Bomardieu name again. Business companies partnered with her foundation. Even the government recognized her efforts. One evening, Eric's father sat with his wife on the balcony. He looked at the lights in the garden and said, "We fought that girl. We tried to separate them. We even hurt her. But she is the one God used to lift our family. Emily is our blessing." His wife nodded slowly. "Yes," she whispered. "She is an angel. And we almost destroyed her." They both fell silent, thinking about everything they had done. But their silence was not sad. It was grateful. Years later, Emily and Eric lived a peaceful life. Their home was full of joy. Their hearts were full of gratitude. Every time they looked at each other, they remembered the battles they fought. The tears they cried. The danger they faced. The pain they survived. Their love became a story people told in schools, in churches, in weddings. A love that refused to die. A love that changed hearts. A love that healed a family. A love that proved that money does not decide love. Love decides everything. And Emily, the poor girl nobody wanted, became the greatest blessing the Bomardieu family ever received.